Good morning. So this is one of the necklaces I made yesterday. Not yesterday, it was Wednesday. I also have this other one, and like this one, I'm having to add, like some, chains because it is, too tight. I wanted it to be kind of like more like this. But I really love this. I think it's turned out pretty great. These colors, like they really match with each other. I was joking that this is like a Powerpuff Girls necklace because you have pink, the blue, and the green. There is the necklace, and there's also like this necklace. It was actually different colors. My dad thought it was too big, and honestly, now that he said it, I'm kind of like, yeah, this is kind of like something. I painted this with spray paint. So like, for example, like these two here, they were yellow. These two things were pink. These two here were blue. This was, this beige color, and this was black. So basically, I was trying, because I was using like a little super glue to get it all together, so like this little pieces. So I had to spray paint on top of it as I did with my yellow one, but because it was multiple colors, it wasn't really working out. So I decided, you know what, let me just paint this a different color altogether. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna use it. I don't know, like I was fine with it, but then my dad said that it's a little too big and I should try to remove some of the things, and now I can kind of like get this out of my head, and I don't know, I'm not liking it too much anymore. There is the necklace I wore yesterday, which I also made. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think I'm gonna keep this to my aunt when we go visit her in December. And I also have this one, which is pretty simple, but like I think it gets the job done. I don't know, like it's wood color, and I think it's nice. It's also like smaller, so I can wear more things with it, because this big one like is already a statement piece. But yeah, so today we're gonna have some visitors, so it's going to be pretty fun. It is a holiday, or today, but it's Saturday, so it doesn't make much of a difference. But it is the day of like proclamation of the Republic here in Brazil. So because like we had our independence in 1822, and then in 1889 we had we finally became a republic. So we celebrated, and then we also have September 7th, which is Independence Day. So we have two holidays, which is pretty nice. I like holidays. Actually, like like when you work for yourself, like you're freelancing, it can be kind of like bad because like you depend on those days to make money. But if you have like a regular 9 to 5 job, then it's nice, you have a day off. And depending on when the day is off, like for example, we had to fall on Thursday, I mean, at least at school we usually don't have class Friday either, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, right now it's not making that much of a difference for me whether it's a holiday or not. But yeah, it's kind of like it's like that sometimes. I know that it's a holiday that people can rest and relax, but yeah, I don't have a lot. But what I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to continue talking about radical acceptance. I think I've already made 2 videos talking about it, but it's been a very groundbreaking concept for me. Of course, like it's easier said than done. Like just how like you like accept yourself. It's kind of like a process, and sometimes like it involves a lot of like you're looking inwardly, and you kind of like breaking down some things, stigmatizing some things, and that that takes time, and it takes like willingness. But sometimes willingness is not enough. There's so many different points in my life where I really wanted to change, but like just the fact that I wanted to change didn't really translate into like my feelings about something changing. But yeah, so like your best bet, I think is like trying to think about your traumas, your triggers, and like the things that have made you who you are. They're not positive, like those experiences, your fears, your insecurities, your anxieties, like those are like you should look at that. And sometimes like you can understand why is that you think a certain way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to stop thinking that way. You're kind of stuck. And for many years, as I said, I felt that way, and like right now it seems that things are finally flowing, that they are, yeah, it really seems like I think they've been making so much progress very quickly, like relatively, because there are some things that it took me like years, if not a decade, for me to get over, and then like in months it seems that I am like moving forward, and I'm really happy with where I'm getting, and I'm really happy about my changes, but I'm also more happy as a consequence of them. So it's like good, it's good all around. But yeah, but I like I don't know, there are different things. I did, just now check on someone that, from years ago. And, like I'm still on social media, so sometimes like you lose contact with people. And I just like decided to do a little scrolling down this person's social, these people, two different people. But one of them I had already done it, like more recently. But the point I'm trying to make here is that how do I put this? I feel good because there was a level of obsession with, individuals back when I was, 2019, 2020. And it's good that now I can look back and I no longer have that, obsession, because it was one of those things that, is getting in the way of my life. I was like neglecting some of my studies and work. So it's nice that right now I'm kind of like free, and I was able to look back, because sometimes like you move away from something. It doesn't have to be a person, it can be some fandom, some ideology, and you kind of like don't want to go back because you're afraid that if you go back you're going to be kind of like tempted to be there once again. And if it's something that is very consuming, it's not really good for your mental health, like you want to move away. And also something that I think I mentioned the other day, I also mentioned it to my therapist, and there are certain memories that I have which they are very charged, like they're very, like they bring very negative feelings and recollections, and I wish I could forget them. And she said that forgetting isn't necessarily healthy because you need to kind of like suppressing it, which I kind of like agree. But right now, like I'm thinking about memories, and thankfully I'm not I'm not feeling them dragging me down. Maybe it is a momentary thing, like right now this is happening, and as time passes I will care once again. But right now I think I have been able to destigmatize some of like those moments, and as a consequence I'm like living happily, because like those situations, they no longer have a hold on me. So even like I was talking about my obsessions, sometimes like they bring positive feelings to me, but I think that it crosses the threshold between being like an interest in obsession, then you need to do something about it, because it's becoming a problem, it's becoming like an issue. And I'm trying to live a healthy and stable life, and I think that lately I've been succeeding at doing that. But there's still things that I can improve. There's still areas where I wish I could do better. There's still things, because as I mentioned before, I think that these memories I have, they're pretty negative, like they really drag me down, and I really wish that and I think I might have even made some progress regarding them, because I want to look back and I want to not feel anything, like not in that I'm numbed way, but in a like there's no way anymore, I'm free pretty much. I think freedom is what I want, and I think radical acceptance is the way to go. And as I said, sometimes it's hard. There's so many different things about my life that I look back and I'm like, I wish I had conducted myself differently. Sometimes I just wish I had thought differently. There are some things that I wish I had walked away from them earlier than I did. But I did have this urge to prove that I was strong and dominant. So I was there, and I witnessed a lot of things. I heard a lot of things that really were bad for my mental health. Thankfully, right now I'm in a place where I no longer feel the urge to stay when something bad is happening, something detrimental to my well-being, my mental health, and all that. But it took me so many years for me to get to this point. I had to endure so much bullshit. I put up with so much shit, and I don't want to say that I regret that, because I'm trying to the whole radical acceptance thing. But sometimes it's hard to feel like I could be doing something else at that time. I could have done something, but at the same time, like I will say that I've been through like many depressive episodes in the past. So it's like I don't know if I could have done anything else. Like I would struggled at the very least. But it is important to acknowledge things, because as I said, I want to accept, radically accept my past and the things I did, the things I didn't do. But it doesn't mean that I want to forget it. I want to no longer have, I want those things to no longer have a very heavy weight on my life. I want to lift that weight off my shoulders. And I have, but like for that, for me to no longer feel like that in the future, I need to make sure that I don't make the same mistakes again, which pretty much means that I'm that like right now I have to look back and I have to learn, I have, and make sure that I don't make the same mistakes again. Also, like, I call them mistakes, but sometimes like it's not really like a right or wrong situation. It's not even like a productive unproductive situation. It's more like I did this and I learned that this is not for me. So it's not that I want to undo what has already happened. I just want to make sure that in the future, like, I've already tried this, I've already learned my lesson. So I really want to learn the lesson, truly learn the lesson to make sure that I am doing well. And I think that I've been having a good example of this in my life, because basically the theme of my day today is oranges, because I have decided, because yesterday I was weighing myself before I went to bed, and I was almost at 74 kilos, and that is that is like 10 kilos more than like the most that I should be weighing. My ideal weight is like 60, which means that right now it's like 14 kilos that I have to lose. But I'm taking not medication, but like a slow pill that really reduces my appetite. But I think that right now, like this past week, because when I'm manic or when I'm okay, like I feel like my hunger really jumps out. I have issues with compulsion, so I usually take this so I can handle that. And basically, like, I've been taking little pills, and they help me, like, do better. But but I'm still eating a lot. So when I go to my doctor again, I'll ask him for something a little bit more potent. But what can I do as it is happening? And I kind of came to the conclusion, I've already thought of this, but I wasn't really doing it. But because basically, so like, there are going to be 3 meals a day. There's breakfast, there's lunch, there is dinner. But in between those meals, I sometimes I feel hungry. So what I'm gonna do if I'm hungry, I'm gonna have an orange. There's also bananas, so like I can also have banana. But basically, I want to feel like this size, because sometimes I'm like, I'm not so much that I'm eating more. I mean, I am eating more on my regular meals, but I'm eating way more times in between those meals. So right now, if I have to eat, I'm gonna eat an orange. I'm going to, like, my breakfast is going to be an orange. Like, I'm gonna have an orange after lunch and after dinner, and in between there's going to be a lot of oranges. We went out today, and I bought like a shit ton of oranges. I think I bought like over 20 oranges, because I'm adding this to my list. So like, this is for me like a good example of like me having actionable actions that work, on something that I've learned my lesson, that if I can control my appetite, at least I'm going to make sure that, things are happening in a healthier way. And also, like, I think I've been lacking, in the fruit department. I think I should be eating more. When I think about myself when I was younger, I was eating way more fruit. And that is something that, every nutritionist, as a doctor, is going to tell you, like, you need more fruit. And I'm like, you know what, I need more fruit. And that's going to be the case. Also, I'm going to start, taking, because I have my Zumba class twice a week, and I have my swimming lessons twice a week. So that's 4 days that I'm exercising. But I want more, because I was from like Monday to Friday. I've been dancing. I dance for like half an hour every morning, and it's been really good. It's a really good way to start your day, and it's also really healthy. And I feel like it just gets everything slowly. And so like now I decided, you know what, I'm going to be exercising Saturday and Sunday as well. I'm going to increase the days. Also, like, I'm gonna do more intenser exercises. I think that I've been dancing, but I think that I'm kind of like in my comfort zone. I want to expand. So 2 things that I can do, they're going to help, and I particularly need this to help, because on the 23rd and on the 26th, I'm going to go to 2 different days. I'm gonna go to an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's going to be a sushi buffet on the 23rd. It's going to be pizza and entrees on the 26th. And I do plan on eating a lot. I'm planning to like probably have like an orange for lunch those days and not eat anything, so I can really save a space. So I'm gonna have this days, and also it's the end of the year, so there's a lot of celebrations, a lot of parties, so like you eat more. And I want to do better. I want to be, there's more that I can do, basically, because last time I was taking these pills, like, they were enough to fix everything. Like, right now it's not so much the case, so I need to step up, basically. But why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I was talking about like learning from the past. So the past few months, like, things haven't really been working out. Starting from May, I started to have a lot of compulsion. I did have many capsules, so like that happens and all that, and I've been trying to go back to my previous weight, and I've been struggling, basically, and I really need to so I think that that's the thing. Like, I've had a bunch of many episodes like since May, and every time I have an episode, it is the whole eating again. And also I've been taking some new medication, and I think that it's also making me hungry. So there's something I'm also going to talk to my psychiatrist next time that I go there. And basically, so the point is, there's more that I can do, and I can change the way I do things, because historically I tried to eat less, but that never really works, because you make yourself not eat. For example, I make myself not eat between meals, and then when I having the meal, I end up eating too much because I'm too hungry. So I think that I'm adapting, and that's important. I look at the past, instead of looking past and being like, oh, I wish I hadn't done this, I wish I hadn't eaten that, I wish I had eaten less. None of that. That's already past. Accept the past. I accepted the past, and now I have to keep moving forward. But yeah, so my life has been, I've been doing pretty well mentally. I've been having a lot of different appointments and events that I'm taking part of lately, so I haven't really been able to write as much this week. But next week, I don't think I have too many things, so I really do want to make an effort to write more, because I'm in a good moment right now. Things are working out, and in terms of I think I mentioned my new strategy that I'm gonna try to focus on each chapter, from beginning to end, trying to see if I can finish them, have a little challenge. And there are a lot of chapters, so if I can finish one chapter a day, there's over 100 chapters in my novel, so there's that. But if I can finish a chapter a day, that is in 100 days I'll be done. So that is a little over 3 months, and I have 6 months. So I think that this is a good way for me to go about things. And also comes from the fact that I look back and I was sometimes things were not really working. And once again, radical acceptance. So I accept that things didn't work out, and that maybe I could have done more, or I could have done things differently. But no, I accept that it happened, and now I'm just using the intelligence I had from what happened and things not working out as I wanted to make changes, because changes to my life, the way I write, because basically everything had a solution. Maybe not generalizing here, but it's just that I think that every problem that I've ever had, there's a way to go about this. There's always something you can do. Naturally, sometimes the things that you can do, they're not really accessible. So it's there isn't a solution. But with all these things, I've been surprised by myself, recently, just with how my brain is working, and I'm having these little solutions, just popping up, which is exactly what I want. With because usually challenges and problems they come up, and they can be, they can kind of make or break things for me. So I want to continue existing, and I want to continue to enjoy existing. I want to continue with my life, and for that I have to be a good problem solver. And I think that this past week is I have really been really good. I'm not necessarily talking about these very big life decisions, but just small things too. They are coming in, I'm okay, I can do this, I can do that. So it's good to be mentally stable, because when you're depressed, there is this defeatism. There you have a very defeated attitude towards things. So sometimes you can think properly, you can come up with solutions. But I think when I'm manic, sometimes I don't have the patience to find solutions, and sometimes I'm not there. I'm kind of moving on. But when I'm stable, that is a good task. Me being able to not succumb to my problems and to those things, they don't feel insurmountable. Even if I don't immediately have a solution, I just keep thinking about it, and then something comes up. So that is also very positive change in my life. But back to radical acceptance. So I think that it is something that is happening, and also sometimes it's a process. So for example, they're thinking about the things in the past that I wanted to forget, because they hurt me, and they kind of impact the way that I'm looking at life in general. So when I'm looking back, right now, for example, I'm looking back at those situations, and they don't have a weight anymore. But in the process of actually healing, there are going to be days when I'm going to care, and those things are going to be really bad for me. But the important, but it's kind of as a process. Right now, things are bad, and I'm having some moments when things are good, and then you kind of have this balance, of 20% of the time you're doing okay, 80% of the time you're not. But this percentage, it increases. So 30, 70, 40, 60, until you get half and half, and then after that, it starts to become increasingly less significant. And honestly, I still have a long way to go when it comes to particularly the years of 2016 and 2017, which pretty much felt just the last years for me for so long. I still have a long way to go to come to accept, them as they happened, and it's not going to happen overnight. I know, particularly because like I'm talking about, because when I say that's why 2016, 2017, it seems that like it's one thing, but no, it is a series of different things regarding those years that makes me frustrated and that makes me, like regretful of the past. So it's going to take a while, but I've already started to see the change that I want, to see, which is that I stopped feeling that way from like those days, and I stopped feeling like I wasted my life, because we only have a limited amount of time. And like now that I'm willing to leave, I'm like really going out there, I really need things to work out, and as I said, I'm looking back and like those things happen, I don't want them to happen again, so I learn and I do better. So things are working well on that front, but still there is the fact that sometimes like objectively I know that I should accept that, and I accept those things objectively, but like the feeling I have is still very significant. It's still dragging me down a little bit. As I said, I've already started to see a change, but it's going to take time, and I'm okay. I have to be patient and I have to be kind to myself, because this was like a while ago, but I'm very emotionally attached. Some of those things, they're kind of like the sore points, but something I've also observed is that like if I'm living well, if things are going well for me, it's easier for me to just look back and be like, it's okay that happened, it's okay that like that was how those years they passed me by, because like right now I'm doing well and I have good prospects about the future. I'm still figuring out like what I want for certain areas of my life, professionally, for example, academically, like that remains to be seen. But in the other things I'm doing, there's been like an improvement, there's been like a change, and like that change is very important, like because sometimes it takes like one step, sometimes the change is like 30 steps, and then look at that and it's very insurmountable. So take one step at a time. So every day I want to be happy and proud of myself for what I've been able to accomplish regarding my mental health and my like my psyche. I want to look at myself and be like, today I made progress, and if I didn't make progress, that's also okay, because that feeling of frustration is only going to make things worse for me. So it's okay if I didn't feel like I made progress, because it's also subjective. Sometimes like there's a build up first to get to the point where things start to flow and things start to happen, which is pretty much what I think has been happening lately. I've been having the payoff of a lot of effort that I made for like a long time. So there's that. But yeah, I think that is it for today. Radical acceptance, is still a very important theme in my mind, and as I said, I'm making progress. It doesn't mean that I have reached the final line yet, but that's okay, because I want every day to be better. So like even if I don't really make progress regarding the past today, it's good for me to just look at my head, myself, and see like what was I able to accomplish. Like even if I didn't accomplish anything, be kind, be gentle with yourself. But also, there's always something, because it's okay that I can accept the past as long as I accept the present and working towards like the future. And that's been something I've been seeing a lot. I'm seeing myself doing things better in a way that I know that a decade from now I'm going to look back and I'm not going to feel disappointed. Because also, as I said, like I'm trying not to feel disappointed with the past, like acceptance, I know I've said that a lot of times, but but it is what it is. And I am walking towards like a point where I won't feel ashamed or embarrassed by the past, and particularly like those years that I mentioned. But there are other things happening as well, but those are the years that I think I struggled the most in terms of acceptance and like not feeling like I'm a piece of shit, because that is sometimes like the case. Like I look back and I feel like I'm lazy and I'm not worthless, but like that I can't do things, that like I'm not capable, and I hate feeling this way. And for the longest time, instead of dealing with those feelings, I was suppressing them, which didn't really work, because I just had those thoughts still like in the back of my mind. And then anything that I struggle with, like that is just like a validation for like those thoughts. And and also there's a shame too. There's the shame of like me not being able to do things, but also the shame of like what it meant that I couldn't do those things. So like there are several layers of shame and embarrassment, and right now, as I said, like I'm working towards like no longer feeling those feelings, but it's going to take some time, and I'm okay with that. Like if I can spot like one little thing that I'm doing better every day, like it's going to get me going. And as I said, every day I've been doing better in a variety of different ways. So even if I don't see progress, you know, with my relationship with the past, at least I know that I'm building a future in which I will look back and I'll not have these feelings. So yeah, bye.